A warm welcome to Anuradha Vedic Astrology. Today we are going to talk about Saturn retrograde. Saturn retrograde gives us an insight within ourselves, but it also brings with it a lot of inconfidence, it brings with it a lot of self-doubt. Let's see how. Before that, a big thanks to all of you for liking, sharing and subscribing to our YouTube and Spotify channels and writing in your comments and suggestions there. If you haven't subscribed to us, please do. And do remember to press the bell icon so that you can get the updates ASAP. Saturn is a planet that, as per Uttar Kalamrit, wherever that it sits, brings in scarcity. Scarcity means a less of anything that it represents. So, when Saturn is sitting in the different houses, as relating to the house that it owns and as relating the house that it is present, it brings scarcity in that area, in that zone. When a planet is retrograde, all its karakatvas, all its karakas become all the more pronounced. Saturn represents your work. It represents your ability to do things in a structured manner. And so, whenever Saturn is retrograde, one may have a little problem in structurizing certain work. What more? Saturn, as I said, represents scarcity. So, that Karakatva of scarcity expresses itself hugely when Saturn is retrograde in its chart. Again, where is it going to show that scarcity? In the house that it is sitting, that Saturn will express its scarcity. If it is sitting in the Lagna represents the body, the Lagna represents the physical features. One might feel, one might have a self-doubt that one is not good looking enough, one is not well built enough, one is not tall enough. That appearance, that ability to project yourself as a very confident person may be missing within you. When Saturn is retrograde and sitting in your second house, the self-doubt can arise out of your family values that you have. You may be doubting yourself and your families of the value that you have inherited from them. The money that you have, you may not feel that it is adequate. Your upbringing or your education can also bring a lot of self-doubt within you. You may not feel very loved or confident about your family. The third house represents your perseverance, it represents your patience. You may feel that you are not patient enough, while others may feel that you have such a lot of patience that you actually do not take any action when or where is it required. You may feel that you do not have the ability to be a good orator. You may doubt your creative skills because you may feel that this is something that you are lacking from within. Whereas others can give you a lot of credit for your skills. We will see in the end as to why. When we talk about Saturn retrograde in the fourth house with the emotions, one may feel that they may not know how to connect to the people. Because the fourth house represents the masses, they may also lack in emotions is something that they feel, or it can so happen that they may not be able to justify their wealth, because as I always say, the fourth house represents your accumulated wealth. When Saturn is in the fifth house, you may have children very late, you may have less children, or you may feel that the children that you have are not up to what you want them to do. The sixth house When Saturn is in the 6th house, you may not be eating properly, your nourishment may not be proper, you may be moving around in spaces for your work, or you may feel that people around you in your job place may not be behaving with you in a proper manner, may not be respecting you as they should. Retrograde Saturn in the 7th house may bring in a disparity, distancing with the partner, or not misunderstanding. It is simply a distance that one creates with the partner. It's a possibility because a person may feel that you want to move towards the other side of life, you want to move into a public platform, or you may not feel very comfortable with your marriage life. When we talk about Saturn in the 8th house and retrograde, one may be doing enough sadhana and one may be feeling that they haven't done enough. One can have health issues but may feel blessed that their health issues are not that as big as they can be, or one can be making a mountain of a molehill about their health issues depending on the aspect that this house will have. In the 9th house, your search, your research for the truth can be very deep because you may feel that you haven't done enough. There is so much to dig in to know more, and you may be very wise, you may be very prudent with your counsel. A retrograde Saturn in the 10th house talks about job scarcity. You may feel that your job is not well enough for you, no matter how hard that your work that you are doing. It could also happen that you may not be putting in enough labor there, because again the 10th house represents the work that you do, and there could be a scarcity in the work that you are doing. The 11th house typically talks about finance, though Saturn is good in the 11th house because it also gets to aspect the 5th house. A retrograde Saturn in the 11th house does confine, does restrict, does create scarcity in your finances. That is a very much of a possibility. When Saturn is retrograde in your 12th house, you know what? Very funnily, you may be having doubts about the kind of money you spend, the purchases that you make. You may be doubting, have I made a good purchase, or could I have made a better purchase? This is a self-doubt that continues to linger onto you for a long period of time. Saturn retrograde people feel a lot less confident than anybody else does. This is a result that they show an introvert nature, a more introvert nature than the direct Saturn, and it takes a lot of time for them to come out from behind the mask that they are wearing. In fact, sometimes they feel that they have no personality, they may not be good at things, and that is why they are afraid that people may take them to be not so knowledgeable, not so good at what they are doing. That is why they make a lot of endeavor in the field that they feel not competent enough to make that work. And we find that as time progresses, having worked in the field that Saturn is placed in, retrograde Saturn in fact is placed in, they become good at that job eventually. You will see that happening particularly around 36, 38 years of life, because that is the time when Saturn in its own, that's the age of Saturn, and that is the time when Saturn matures. This is the time when you learn to take certain decisions and come out of your self-doubting years. Do let us know how you found this video. But before we leave, let's take the chart of Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg's Saturn is retrograde in the 2nd house of Cancer, where we see the Lagna happens to be the Gemini Lagna. It is important to see the sign also, because when the sign is something like Cancer, which is all about emotion, and the second house representing family, as a child he was not very emotionally comfortable with the feelings that he had about his family's value system. Coming from a Jew family and undergoing a lot of bullying at school, he was not very comfortable with his own upbringing, and as a result shied away from all that his family represented. It is after a long period of time when he came out, when he himself became a father and he came out of his doubting, that he learned to appreciate his family values and later went on to pass the same to his children. So, it is important that over a period of time we understand where we are lacking and why is it that we are not feeling very comfortable with it, address that situation and learn to get that Saturn direct again in our charts. With that, take care of yourself and
please hit the bell icon for fresh updates. Don't forget to like, share and comment on the videos, and please subscribe to our channel.